with the alcohol board. I came back the next day, he wrote me in the email, said it was 7 days later. I got the emails that he sent me that he was gonna sit down and talk with me and my mom about stress. My mom's been in here and paid the water bill. I've been in here and paid the water bill. It's like every time I come up here, he's turning his back coming up with tricks.
That is an outright lie.
Do you have anything
He
in the
comes
packet
to
about the food
the
truck?
window and I talk to him every time.
Do you have anything in the packet about the food truck?
You know what, I don't need this job that bad. Y'all can have Mr. Tony, y'all can have everything. Print that, Hannah.
Is make it four, is that your resignation?
He did the same thing.
If that's what you want, Tony,
I didn't say that.
You want something?
You need to sit down.
Yeah, let him talk for us.
you know what? Good luck getting them $4 million grants on your own, Tony. Maybe you can call your boy Mike Tolson.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
That's what y'all wanted from the get-go, right, Kyle? That's what you wanted from the get-go, right, Chief?
He did the same thing last year.
Wow.
Mr. Tony, would you like to have your lawyer address the board?
Yes.
Concerns you had?
Yes.
Okay, well, we'll hear what he has to say. We haven't had a public hearing.
But just now we can go make a motion to go to public.
Yeah, we can make a motion.
Let's start the public hearing.
Let's start public.
You're here to speak at the public
I'm
hearing.
here to speak, but I apologize for Bridge being out, I didn't know.
Well, it's okay, we're just gonna go in, we have a motion to go into public hearing. I make a motion to go into public hearing. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're now in public hearing.
Floor is yours. Thanks very much. I don't know what just happened.
We're not gonna address that, we just address what you came here to address.
Yeah. I brought with me Judge Jones, he's a representative now, he's retired judge, his office is my office. We came down the road, we've been talking, and said, Mr. Tony, it looks like he's gonna revamp everything he's got and make it into a nicer type jazz bar and flat deal and all that. So, he's got security, he's got the kitchen. He's in the process of making a place and something he would seem like he'd be attractive, proud of. So, I cannot speak to anything that happened here, I don't know, but I didn't know the bridge was out where I've been on time. Sorry about that. And, as I was talking to Judge Jones, he showed up in the parking lot when I was coming out, and I said, Judge, would you go to a jazz, like a jazz type club in Spring Hill, 10 minutes down the road from the office? And he said he would, so he's with me if you, I mean, would you go to a jazz club?
Yes, sir.
And we, two of us would not be in a place that would be out there fighting in the street. Got no use for that, so. That's about all I got to say.
So do we have any more comments from the public? During the public hearing, we open the floor, any other comments?
My name is Dave Jones, I'm on a report yet complete, and I'm same to Mr. Swain, and sometimes we do cases together. And, that's when I come down here. I'm also in the House of Representatives. And, I think that this idea that we could just have a private, upgraded jazz bar, probably, I hope it's a violation of the regulations. I don't know if they are, it is, I'm visiting, but I think, it could be a good place that people could socialize. And, it would be probably something that will life, in a different way. So I just want to say that I can't speak for him in that regard. And, like I said, we started a little bit late because we didn't know the bridge was out. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
My name is Shirley Tony, and I'm the owner of the place. And all the issues seem to be addressed to Mr. Tony. Mr. Tony was just helping me out. And I try to follow the rules and regulations because I'm a registered nurse with the state of North Carolina. And in a month or so, in a month and a half, I have to deal with an account of where my previous license was taken before I renewed my license. And I'm up here now to want a valid answer that I can put on my application for my nurse's license. And what happened downtown, they don't look at that, cause my name is on the bill. And I would like for all of this to be settled and everything, and Mr. Tony said that when I'm paying the tax out on the building, nobody has addressed me about any concern. It's always like it's him. But I am the owner of the building. Thank you.
Do you have any other comments from the public?
I'd like to make a brief point if I could, Drew.
Sure.
I'd like to say that I've been down to Mr. Tony's established numerous times before it was closed. And while it may have a reputation of being dangerous or a derelict of its community, I can say personally that the only time I ever saw a drug was when I had a woman in my shirt pocket down there. Okay, that's the only time. Now, if it's there, it's oblivious to me. I know that's part of the reputation that place has, but I can tell you that it's not Mr. Tony. The man does not drink, he does not smoke, he doesn't even eat meat. And unfortunately, I think that that neighborhood, maybe through gentrification, by our oligarchs in this town, Mr. Walling, could be contributing to why that business is as it is. Now, any bar in this town could be dangerous. Just ask me how I sustained a concussion on Friday night. You'll be hearing about it soon. You'll have a nice night.
Any other comments from the public about the, issue we're discussing tonight? No other comments from the public, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing and go back into regular session.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor, going back into regular session? Motion carried. So we have before us a motion here by Mr. Tony to reopen his establishment on the conditional use permit. You have the information before you, his application. Taking comments from the board, and we'll consider a motion to approve or deny.
Well, I'd like to say something myself a little bit if I can. I've spoken to someone that's in here tonight, and I've relayed what I felt would be helpful for this whole situation. I have a hard time with some of the answers on the application. And number one is A, that the operation of my establishment is intended to align with the values and expectations of the town of Springfield. The problems I have is the issues that we had in the past that brought us to the point of doing what we did was because of things that did take place. They did. They happened. I can say this, it was not inside the establishment, as Mr. Tony has said numerous times, everything that happened was outside. But we do, it is set up in this town that can't be, those people cannot be outside loitering outside the establishment for an amount of time. And for that to take place, that's a problem. I understand that, that was spoken to Mr. Tony about, that need to be handled to a degree. I would like to see something to the effect, he says in here also in his application that they would abide by his rules or whatever, or I've been told that they would abide by his rules, and I understand that, but I'd like to see, maybe, be honest with you, for him to step above and beyond this and maybe have some of these rules posted on the wall inside the establishment, to where the public can see that they can't go outside and loiter outside, because that reflects on you, Mr. Tony, is what I'm getting at. And they need to see that, I believe. I think it would help. No, I'm speaking at the moment. You'll get a chance, I'm sure, if that goes back into public. But I think that's somewhere where that needs to be addressed. addressed maybe, I'm just saying. I'd like, there's too much that's happened in the past and things that happened that I need personally to see something that Mr. Tony does that will show us his intent to even be better, his intent to do this. I think he needs to. We can't erase it. It's there. It can't be erased of what's taking place. It's happened. All we can do is look at that and look forward, and that's, I just feel that, I feel that, just to fill this out to the point of, I just feel that there needs to be, a little more effort, I think, in that aspect of showing us these things that have changed, that will change, that will make this a different establishment. That's all I wanna see. I wanna see that some of these things that are brought forth. I would love tonight, to be honest with you, I know you don't have to, I'd love to see the, security company here. I would love to see that. You don't have to do that, Mr. Tony, you have a right not to bring him in here. You have a right to do what you have. I'd like to see that too. You can't speak right now, I mean, maybe. I'd like to see that. I know you don't have to, you can say no one else has to do that, and I agree, no one else does. But under your circumstances and what has taken place in the last years, I feel for you, that would be so much help for you. I'm just saying these things, that what I feel needs to take place. For me to feel comfortable, I need to see extra in this situation, not just the same norm of, I'm gonna comply with this, I'm gonna comply with that, I'm complying with this. I'm just speaking what I feel, and what I think, and what others in town have come and spoken to me about to a degree. But I just would like to see that push forward more, to help us understand what you plan to do and how you plan to handle this situation. How do you plan to handle people that may be outside your establishment instead of inside? I'd like to know that. And so that's my concerns anyway. Thank you, Drew.
Thank you, Tony.
I know the
Go ahead,
last
Susan.
time that, we met, these license people, they told you certain things that you would have to do as far as inside and outside, you know?
I have it recorded, the whole meeting on my phone.
It has to be up to, code.
I passed mass
This is not open session.
Okay, I'm just saying, that's the goal.
Ms. Libby, speak, please.
It has to be up to code, especially when you are serving food inside, you can serve it inside, has to be up to code. From what I was told, a food truck is not accepted to run a bar. And that's what I was told. It's not accepted. By standards of operating bar. And I think I heard you say the other night you had a food truck.
I couldn't hear you.
Didn't you say the other night you had a food truck?
It should be in your packet, well, along
Yeah.
with Nash County, all of my certificates of insurance, I gave it to Andrew. I mean, I got a commercial kitchen.
Tony,
I have a commercial
it's not
kitchen.
open session.
She asked me a
Ms.
question.
Libby, are you finished?
Okay.
I'm finished.
Okay. Commissioner Walton, do you have any comments?
I guess the biggest problem we had was I worked with you for hours, helping you get set up originally, and paperwork, and we were gonna open a bar. You were gonna open a bar. And somehow it moved, whether ABC rules or whatever, is the understanding that I'm under, that they would not let you have a bar, that had to be a private club. And, you know, if a bar requires food service and you have to prepare inside or whatever, you have to have a place to cook, whatever, prepackaged food or whatever, you know, I, along the others, would feel a lot better if you could give us a drawing, how you're planning on meeting ABC qualifications for that, and a plan, how you want to get there. Also, I would love if you had, Mr. Jeffrey said, I would love if you had tried a little harder on your prep work on this. told us what the ABC board wants for you to open a bar. I'm just asking, because all I got when we discussed this a couple months ago, I'm speaking to you, I'm not asking you a question. That, you know, you could not have a bar, it had to be a private club. I mean, I'm just, you know, if you brought something to us from the ABC board, that this is that, I don't understand why we did this almost 2 years ago, and, you know, we're at this point now. I mean, I spent hours with you and on the phone with the county, checking out property lines, whether or not you have outside seating, inside seating, and all of that, and, you know, I retire from office, I come back, step into this, I'm not gonna question the stuff that happened outside, but I think if you're the one that is opening this business and these people are coming to hang out at your establishment, you've got to take some responsibility for their actions. You either need to call the officer, send them home, get them off of your property, get them away from your property to protect your business and you and your mother's interests.
You have comments, Mr. Waller? Mr. Clifford, do you have any comments, on the board or not? Regarding this matter? We have the permit before us as it stands. Certainly some concerns have been raised by the board. So at this point, we can have a motion to either approve or deny the permit as application.
Can I just ask,
Sure.
would you go back to, and allow Mr. Tony Lees to address what he wants to say? Can we do that, or we're not allowed to do that?
I'm not so sure that would be,
Okay.
positive outcome tonight. I think that there've been some good comments made by the board.
Okay.
About some things that we need to see here from Mr. Tony, given, some of the things that have occurred in the past at his establishment. They may not have been inside his establishment, but certainly they were outside the establishment, and I think the concern from the community around the facility and from the community at large, was that his establishment brought some of that type of activity to that area. I don't think Mr. Tony necessarily wanted that either, and I certainly know that from the comments I've heard from residents outside of this meeting and from this board, that was the reason for concern for the original closure. So I think at this point, my opinion would be that Mr. Tony needs to more fully address the concerns that this board and the town board made evident to him when this original permit was revoked, more than just, some answers to some questions here. I think we need to see a little more detail about how he intends to maintain control of the property inside and outside of his property. That's just what I'm getting here from comments from the board, is I think it would be most beneficial if Mr. Tony perhaps would go back and get us some of the information from the ABC board and get us some more details on how he actually intends to operate his business, whether it would be as a private club or a bar, or exactly what his intentions are and exactly how he plans to maintain control of the area around his establishment. Granted, he is not necessarily responsible for what goes on in the street, but he is responsible somewhat for what his business does draw for town, just like the other businesses here are in town. So I think, at this point, I don't think, it's up to the board about whether or not to approve this application, but I think it would be in the best interest of everyone if Mr. Tony would do a more adequate job of addressing the concerns that were brought before him. I don't think we're gonna open back up to a public hearing. We'll just entertain either a motion to approve or deny the application as presented. If it is not approved, then I think Mr. Tony would need to come back with some more details of how he intends to operate his, establishment. So, with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to either, yes, sir, Mr. Qualls.
One question, can I ask the lawyer a question for the board?
Sure.
Mr. Edwards, instead of accepting or denying this, could this be tabled for 30 or 60 days, to give Mr. Tony ample time to gather more information for the board before he possibly receives a decision against his wishes?
That's great, yes, the board can do that, yes. So then, that's an option before the board would be to table this matter, and let him prepare, little more detailed information about his plans going forward and how he plans to avoid any of the issues that were present prior to the closing report.
And just to confirm, some kind of a packet in writing that shows it, where we can hold it and look at it, and then hold the situation accountable for what, is that what you?
Yeah, I think
It's
that-
just
I think
been
that's a good-
Andrew has
dialogue
all of
right
that
now.
stuff. My still have my liquor license, I have all of my
This
stuff from
is
the
not,
health
we're
department.
not in open session now, Mr.
Yeah,
Moore,
but
this is
that-
the board discussing what's going on.
We need something to hold and look at. Yeah, it's just been dialogue.
Right, we need some more concrete evidence of who would be hired to do security.
You got that in your you got a contract that I gave Andrew.
Oh,
You got my liquor license,
The current contract is not acceptable to this board as it is presented. The board can approve, deny, or table the motion.
Well, the security company is
One of those options.
The security company is outside, and it,
Motion been made to table, do we have a second? We have a motion and a second, all those in favor? Motion passed, but now we entertain a motion to adjourn, I think that's our last item of business, isn't it? Do I have a second? All in favor? Meeting is adjourned, Chief, if you would please, clear the building, and we'll, open back up for the board meeting, give us about 5 or 10 minute recess, please.
I got to do that.